Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons and Dragons advice video on when player characters become too wealthy too quickly. When I say wealthy in game terms, I mean rich and powerful. Most advanced Dungeons and Dragons adventurers become adventurers because they're broke and need money. If you're wealthy, why adventure? You know, some campaigns incorporate missions from powerful benefactors like kings, counts, dukes, barons, wealthy lords or ladies, justicars of some type, clerics, that kind of thing. And these people employ cavaliers, paladins, and wizards to undertake political missions or some other official tasks. But for the most part, these servitors are low-level functionaries who owe their authority to these benefactors. I usually avoid such situations as the Dungeon Master because these servitors can get our intrepid player characters out of trouble because they do have some authority. This authority has a downside, however. Those servitors are beholden to someone else, and who knows where that someone else's loyalties lie. Should that benefactor become compromised in some way, subversion, treason, being accused of treason, that kind of thing, that casts aspersions on the servitors, and in turn on the player characters. Many such underlings have been executed historically over crimes their masters were accused of. But getting back to those basic adventurers, I've done videos on how dungeon masters need to be stingy, and they need to relieve player characters of excess coinage at every opportunity, through taxes, tolls, and other fees, as well as through payoffs, bribes, and other means, including haggling for common and magic goods, outright theft. Yeah, the local thieves guild, the pickpockets, that kind of thing. As a dungeon master, you need to fleece the player characters. Milk them dry. That may sound mean and in some circumstances uncalled for, but trust me when I say it is necessary. Player characters who become too wealthy lose a major impetus to go adventuring. Why go adventuring if you have land and a huge pile of gold in the back? You can employ a small army to protect you. You can create businesses and run your property to produce crops for income. You can employ dozens of families to sharecrop and work your land. At that point, that player character is no longer an adventurer. He is a lord or lady who must contend now with the neighboring lords who will want to take control of their land, either militarily or politically. The focus of the game has shifted from we need to kill that monster to gain its treasure because we're hungry to I need to hire mercenaries to train my peasants to defend my land against that baron who wants to subjugate me. That's a huge shift in the dynamic of the game. Now, at some point, this will happen in any successful campaign. It's expected. That's the whole point of adventuring, is to become wealthy. But you want to delay that as long as possible. You want your player characters as powerful as possible on a personal level before they reach that point. This will give them a much better understanding of your world and its power players, and it will give them a chance to make political friends and allies. Before they enter the political arena, your player characters want as many friends and allies as possible. They also want to be very difficult to ignore or eliminate. Any low-level lord who puts up with, entertains, or otherwise allows some upstart adventurers to become people of standing in his area or province will be seen as weak. The lords he answers to will begin to question this guy's fitness to govern. These low-level lords will want to subjugate or eliminate these upstarts as quickly as possible. Should these upstarts force their way into the political hierarchy of the region, they will be a long, long time gaining the respect of the lords and ladies in that region. They will face repercussions for daring to raise themselves above their station. Furthermore, however they feel about these lords and ladies, they will need to treat them with respect. Any insult or perceived slight will be seen as provocation for armed conflict. This is something the player characters will want to avoid. Chances are, those lords and ladies will join forces and gang up on the player characters. Even if they do manage to prevail, their lands and the people who live there will suffer. Politics is a dirty, dirty business, and those who practice it are underhanded, conniving, and ruthless. Game of Thrones has nothing on real life, trust me. Should a group of player characters want to start their own kingdom, I recommend they find an out-of-the-way place that's self-sufficient and doesn't have ties to any neighboring political entities. This may be hard to find, but it will be far easier to build a freehold there than to carve out a barony in some occupied area. If they can find an area like this, a hidden valley, for example, with agriculture and mining and a thriving trade with the neighbors, convincing these people that they need a government and that the player characters can offer them something they do not already have now, like protection, allies, that kind of thing, will be far preferable. The locals may jump at the chance. Many areas like that are ripe for bandits and raiders. So if the player characters can offer them protection from that, that would go a long way towards, let's let this guy lead us. We'll pay a little bit of taxes and then he'll protect us from these. It beats getting robbed and cleaned out every year, Building a freehold with willing and capable inhabitants will be far easier and will allow the player characters to learn how to rule before the neighboring lord tries to crush them. I had a group who carved out a kingdom in a mountain valley. They were at odds with one neighboring kingdom, and there were many conflicts. Ultimately, they were able to create a stable economy based on mining, agriculture, and trade. It was wonderful. They did such a good job. And then they managed to sink the entire continent by accident. Check out my video, How Not to Move the Ocean. Ultimately, the longer you delay the player characters reaching the point where they consider changing that dynamic, becoming political rather than personal, adventurers, the dynamic of changing from adventurers to politicians. That's the better way to put it. The longer you delay that, the better chance they have to succeed when they do make that change. And believe me, they will at some point make that change. You want to delay that as much as possible. And when I say milk them dry, I mean if they have so much money that they can't carry it all, you're going to have to establish a bank, or they're going to be carrying a shitload of treasure maps where they buried stuff. Okay? Look up a video I did on encumbrance, how much gold they can carry, because gold weighs a lot. 10 gold coins weighs a pound. So if they have 1,000 gold, that's 100 pounds of gold. Okay? I'm just saying. Relieving them of excess coinage is almost a necessity. I hate to put it like that, but you gotta fleece them. You gotta milk them dry. It's that simple. At some point in the future, in the campaign, when they're ready to make that jump, to change that dynamic from adventurer to politician, by that time they'll be ready, and you will understand, because they will have traveled. They know the woes and the economies and the businesses and like that of the dynamics of the area. They know what the farmers are doing to survive. They know how the tradesmen work. They know the trade routes and blah, 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 blah. They'll be much better prepared if you do this. Trust me. That's all I'm saying. Again, fleece them dry. That's all I'm saying. Milk them dry. If you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on all of your social media platforms, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there, including this fun little story about a house in New Orleans where the monsters all hang out. It's called The House Off Farrago Road. Yeah, it's just a fun story. There's nothing political about it. It's just there. But I hope you get it. I hope you like it. There's other stuff there on my author page, a variety of different things. So hope you find something you like, and I hope you enjoy it. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all.